I don't want to do this, man. I don't want to do this.
No, yeah, you have to. It's your review.
Come on, man. I tried so hard to find some bad things to say. There's nothing bad. It's good for your club again. Just don't make me do this.
What? That sucks for you then, doesn't it?
Come on, man. You made finals. You won 2 derbies. Why do I...
That's just the way that the barrel falls, mate. It's your review. You got to get it done.
Damn it. It was a really, really weird year for West Coast this season. I mean, don't get me wrong, they were still good at stages and elite at stages. But when you come in and your expectation is a flag and you don't make it past the semi-finals, is it fair to say that you whiffed on your expectations? Well, yeah, kind of.
Hey, Justin.
Yeah, man.
Come on, do it properly, man. Like we said, no bad stuff, right? West Coast are great. Do it properly.
Okay. West Coast season was derailed by the media. No, screw this. I'm doing it my way. Look, granted, it's hard to go back to back. Richmond couldn't do it. The Dogs fell off the face of the planet when they tried. And the team to do it before that, the Hawthorn team that won 3 in a row, were just a bunch of freaks. So, yes, it's tough. But as a Freo fan sitting here, I'm going to be pretty comfortable in saying West Coast didn't live up to the hype this year. Still, they did go 15-7. They had a percentage of 112. And at stages, in fact, basically throughout the entire season, yes, they were talked about as flag fancies. So, yes, I'm probably going to try to find some bad points in this review. But to be fair, it's going to be pretty hard given that, again, they were okay. For all the end of year reviews we've done so far, we take you back to the preseason to start them, and we look at the expectation on that team coming into 2019. It's a bit of a pointless exercise for West Coast, who came off one of the more prolific Premiership campaigns in recent memory, maybe even in history last year. So anything short of a flag wasn't going to get it done this year. I mean, you win a Premiership, you've got to get another, don't you? Isn't that the overall aim? Also, they hadn't made too many massive adjustments in the preseason and the off-season. They missed on Tim Kelly, but they'd kept Andrew Gaff. And when I say missed on Tim Kelly, that's probably just temporarily. So things were looking as stable as ever for West Coast as they looked to make another Premiership tilt. So I think that's why we were all just a little bit shocked, yet not falling out of our seats when they were smacked by Brisbane at the Gabba in round 1. I say not falling out of our seats because it's round 1, and let's be frank, we've all seen strange things happen in round 1. So I think this also spoke more to how good Brisbane was going to be than any potential regression from West Coast. Yet, still, there was no denying the Premiership defence was off to a pretty bad start. Yet, nonetheless, unfortunately for those of you who, like me, were hoping for a serious dive down the ladder from the Eagles, it only took one more week for them to turn things around. They pumped GWS in round 2, and then they got Andrew Gaff back for round 3 and won a grand final rematch against Collingwood, so the Premiership defence at this point was sailing pretty smoothly. A third straight win came against my boys Freo in a scrappy derby, and all of a sudden 3-1 looking pretty good at the 4-round mark of the season. But from there, they lost 2 straight, and all of a sudden it was 3-3 at round 6, and we still didn't really know what West Coast were. They hadn't really gotten out of second gear. And if you watch our show Footy Rivals, Ryan, the Eagles fan, and I actually talked about that quite a bit, that they were stuck in cruise control for most of the season, never really falling out of contention, yet never really throwing themselves into elite form. That was kind of the vibe for their next 4 matches, where they picked up narrow and kind of unimpressive wins, I want to say, against the Gold Coast, Saints, Melbourne, and Adelaide. Yet still, we were all just sitting there giving the Eagles the benefit of the doubt that they would come good, put their form together when they really needed it to come together, and be the team that we all expected them to be. That was the case the following week after those 4 straight wins, when they piled up a 5th and absolutely demolished the Bulldogs, and alas, we'd thought they had all arrived. But in a result that kind of signifies this weird season for West Coast, they were smashed by the lowly Swans the next week.
That's it. No, that's it. Yeah, you're doing this properly. That's it. Put on the gear.
It doesn't even fit.
I've had enough.
Okay.
I'll put it over your big head then.
Jeez.
Go on.
Insults and
That's
West
it.
Coast gear.
You're doing this. You're doing this right. Now, do it again.
Nope, screw it. I'm going back to my script. I've had enough of this. You've tarnished me. I'm over this, man. Damn it all. So, where was I? I think I was at the point where the Eagles were getting smoked by the Swans. From there, after round 11, it was kind of just this weird run of up and down form for the Eagles. Again, never really truly finding their rhythm, yet never being a bad side. And never dropping out of the top 4. Until round 23. The Hawks came to town and to the joy of all Freo fans conjured a massive upset, destroying the Eagles on their home deck and punting them out of the top 4 in what would be the start of a terrible few weeks for the Eagles. Yes, fair enough, they turned around and they belted Essendon in the first week of finals in an elimination clash and were supreme over them. But if they thought the Hawks loss shook them up at all, they didn't know what they were in store for next. After their drubbing of the Bombers, the West Coast players were turned upside down when news broke that Willie Rioli wouldn't be playing in their semi-final after allegedly tampering with a drug test. Their beloved small forward was bound to miss their clash with the Cats, and it kind of looked to have them in the wrong headspace as Geelong got off to an absolutely storming start in the semi-final. But, in true West Coast fashion, they came back, and across the second and third quarters gave a really strong account of themselves and looked like they were going to take the game regardless and charge into a preliminary final. Unfortunately for West Coast, they ran out of gas in the fourth quarter, didn't fire too much of a shot. Geelong ran away with the game and booked their spot in a preliminary final, while the Eagles season came to a close. It was a premature end to a really weird season for West Coast. But how do you grade it? I mean, they were superb in patches. Long patches, where they just continued to be the side that we all know that they can be. And then for other stints, they just looked a little iffy, as if they were just sort of coasting. And in the end, didn't get the job done. So I don't really know what sort of tag to put on these Eagles. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to sit here and poke fun of them for being bounced by the Cats, but a part of me still knows that a semi-final appearance, it's nothing to sneeze at, even if you are the defending champs. So I'm finding it really tough to put a letter grading on West Coast. With that, I thought I'd turn to their statistics, and in the numbers game, they're pretty sound as always. 4th in scoring, 4th in kicks, 3rd in marks, 5th in goal assists. These are all numbers that adhere to the structure and the game plan that West Coast play, so clearly they executed what they were being told to do. Funnily enough, despite their 4th place ranking in kicks, they were actually 17th in disposal, showing they don't care for the handball at all, ranking 18th in that category. Clearly there's a plan in place to use their feet as much as they can, and why not when you've got the likes of Shannon Hearn at the back half, or even Jeremy McGovern's not too bad by foot, so these skills that they employ are really helpful and clearly gave them the legs that they needed to take another finals campaign. Individually, Elliot Yeo continued to play at an elite level and Luke Shuey continued to be the beacon of consistency. Andrew Gaff compiled a nice year, Jack Darling kicked 59 goals. They were pretty good in all 3 phases. Shannon Hearn continued to play well in the backline as well, and even when Barras came back from injury, I didn't think was too bad. They also got some promising signs from younger players. Oscar Allen was coming along pretty nicely, and I'm sure Jack Petrocelli enjoyed a bit of a breakout season in terms of getting into the side a little more. And his pace also was a huge factor in a lot of points early on in the season. With all of that, I'm actually going to give West Coast an A-. I was teetering on the edge of a B+, and it just seemed a little low for me. I'm giving them an A- in the fact that they obviously fell short of their goal, but I don't think they're actually too upset about it, and I think they feel that with a few little tweaks and changes, they can come back a better side next year. Speaking of next year, what exactly do the Eagles need to move forward? We all know their master plan in the offseason is just going to be get Tim Kelly, and if they do, man, I don't even want to talk about what happens if they do. That midfield's already okay. It's already good. It's already great. Don't let it happen. Whatever you're doing, Geelong, don't let it happen. Outside of the Kelly move, I actually just think they're going to do what the Eagles do, trust what they've got, and go from there. Try and hang on to the pieces they've got. I'm sure Eagles fans are enjoying the prospect of another year with Oscar Allen's development. I'm sure they think Petrocelli has a little more to offer. Even Liam Ryan can continue to develop. So why not just continue to stick with what you've got when you know it is good enough? 200 gamer Chris Marston's already been delisted, so he's on the way out, although I don't think they're too upset about that, and I think he has a chance to find life at another AFL club. And they'll obviously make a few more small outs and changes, but I don't think they're going to lose anyone that's going to be too detrimental to them. I'm also excited to sort of see how they plan this Josh Kennedy phase and the next phase of his career. Clearly, he still kicks enough goals to be effective. And I don't think that a regression in form from him is going to be harmful to the Eagles given the rise of Jack Darling and what he can do now. So I'm keen to see how they sort of handle any lapse of form that might come with a little more age from Josh Kennedy. All in all, I hate to say it, but I think you can just expect West Coast to be a top 4 contender again next year. They missed out this year with a freak loss to Hawthorn. They probably should have been in it, and I think any West Coast fan or player or coach or whatever would tell you, yes, they should have been in it. So I don't see them slipping from being around the mark as a genuine contender to take home some silverware next year. So I suppose that brings you to the conclusion of my highly interrupted West Coast review. Thanks for that, Ryan. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I hated bringing it to you, because, to be honest, I really dug deep to try and find some bad things about this club, and there's just not that much on the radar. Anyway, if you did enjoy the video, please leave a big thumbs up. Please subscribe to AFL Access for any future content. Obviously, we're getting into the elites of our off-season reviews now, and our end-of-year reviews, I should say. So I believe Geelong and Collingwood will be coming out. The next time you'll catch me, I'll be taking you through the grand final runner-up, be that GWS or Richmond, we are yet to find out. For now, thanks for watching. Catch up.